start now. So, Jay, firstly, congrats again on landing your new cloud job. Tell me, how did it feel when you got that confirmation that you got the new role?
Oh man, I felt like I was dreaming. I told the recruiter, man, literally pinching myself right now because this is like surreal. It's a dream, definitely a dream come true. It's definitely probably about a year in the making. But when I found your program, it's like everything just clicked. I signed up for your program in February of 2024, and in June, a couple months later, I was already like getting interviews, getting reached out by recruiters. Going from first round to second round to the final round interviews. And then in August, I got the offer.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
finally cloud hired.
Yeah.
Feels
Yeah.
good, yeah.
That's amazing. But the thing is with what you did, so you first joined in Feb. It took a few months for you to go through the
Mhm,
academy, get comfortable, right? And then
mhm,
you had the summer break. So the summer is when recruiting like slows down. But like you managed to get hired during a tough market, which is really, really cool. But yeah, just some context on this like testimonial. Like there's no pressure here. I want you to be completely honest on your
mhm.
experience and like the value you believe the academy has provided you. And I'm kind of like going to use a testimonial to share it with others so they can see like proof that there's results here. And like people seem to think like these courses are like scams and like
Yeah.
they have no value, but like it's not the case. But yeah, let's just start with like what was your background before joining the Cloud Engineer Academy? Like what were you doing? Did you have any struggles? And like what sparked your interest in tech?
Yeah. Oh, so my background was in mortgage in the banking business. So here in the US, I worked with Capital One, Chase, Bank of America, and that's just something I kind of stumbled into. But I just got tired of the real estate market. I kind of reached my ceiling, getting a high salary, got the degree, and then, just to go back and get a higher paying position. And eventually I just reached my ceiling. And then I saw that what tech can do. And my original plan was to do software engineering. So I took a boot camp like back in 2017,
Yeah.
found out that I really don't like coding too much, but I like what it can do in technology. And so I knew that I always wanted that tech position, to work with a tech job. And I just every time I would try to leave mortgage, I just kept getting a raise and promotion in mortgage.
Yeah.
So in last year, December of 2023, I actually ended up getting laid off. And so I was fully remote, high paying job, high paying salary, and I got laid off. And I knew it was coming because they had been laying off all year. That's just kind of like the roller coaster of mortgage. And so I took that opportunity to get into something that I always wanted to do. But I pivoted from software to cloud engineering back in, let's see, 2022 is probably when I made the decision. That's when AI was starting to come out. And
Mm.
I noticed how AI can just spit up code easily. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, if I want to learn software, it's probably not the best thing.
Yeah.
So then I started thinking like what's up and coming, like what's the next wave? And that was cloud. And so I found other programs on YouTube, signed up for them. But I just wasn't learning as much. It was just a lecture. They were using Microsoft Word for their diagrams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but that was more like cloud architect, kind of high advanced. And when I started doing my research, I was like, okay, somebody with no tech experience, I need to like kind of lower the bar of entry.
Yeah. Mm.
And I started learning like about cloud engineer, cloud support engineer. And then I just kept researching, online. And then I came across your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I like the way you communicate it, you present. And I just felt like somebody I can see myself well, like doing business with, learning from as a mentor and associating myself with you. And then I just kept, watching your videos and
Yeah.
so slowly but surely, I signed up. And that was in February of 2024 this year. And, just a couple months later, I'm already getting interviewed.
Yeah, that's amazing. You've actually answered like the next two of my questions. Was like the next one was like, what motivated you to pursue a career in cloud engineering? So you said you always had an interest in tech,
Yeah,
software initially, then you saw the AI boom, and then you said, I'm gonna go
yeah,
with cloud, which is
yeah,
awesome. And then I was gonna ask you how you discovered the academy. So
yeah,
what made you
online.
choose it then? What made you choose the academy over like the other ones that you did as well?
Because I liked how your modules, they were all like illustrated perfectly and you explained it perfectly as well. It wasn't just like a face-to-face lecture.
Yeah.
Also, you do it hands-on. So like anything you're teaching us, like let's say Terraform, you're actually typing it out line by line
Mhm.
in Terraform. And we're also debugging it live too. Uh, so it's like hands-on, like you're in class.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Can you give me a quick overview of the overall experience in the academy from the modules to the live calls and workshops? And how did you find the adjustment to learning something new? And did the academy meet your expectations? Let's just,
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is the best academy out there, bar none. I'm glad. I did a testimonial, I recorded, I'm gonna send it to you because I just wanted to do it. And I did it out there in front of my building because I wanted it just to have a great background. But I hardly don't do testimonials because I just never went into it. But this program has done so much wonders for me. Like I had to release a honest, unbiased feedback review. And it's the best one out there. Like as far as like the materials, the modules, the community, setting up the weekly calls with you, the mock interviews that helped me out a lot too, doing it with you.
yeah,
Also, resume, you helped me out polish my resume and my LinkedIn profile. And once I
yeah,
did that, like recruiters started reaching out.
yeah. And that seems to be a common pattern. Like every time I've done a LinkedIn review for one of the students and their CV, they've all said the same thing. Like as soon as you update it, the next day I started getting inbounds. I was thinking, wow, like that's
Yeah.
really cool. Cool.
Yeah.
But what was like the most challenging aspect of the program? Did you have any struggles throughout it? Was it hard initially? Like how did you overcome it?
Yeah, of course, you have your procrastination,
Mm,
like learning Terraform. I knew everybody kept talking how hard it was going to be. So I kept like procrastinating, putting it off. Like I'll start on Monday.
mm,
But it's just getting through that phase. Just take the first step. It's not as bad as you think it is, and being consistent. With me, since I was laid off and I was basically a full-time student this whole year, I was rushing through it, I guess, in a way in the beginning, and I was kind of I would go and watch like podcasts and other cloud engineers being interviewed, and they all said the same thing, and this sort of clicked. And you mentioned it too in your weekly calls, is don't try to skip ahead too fast. Don't try to rush it. Learn one thing
mm.
and then move on to the next technology. And that's in the beginning, that's kind of where I made that struggle because I was rushing through it. And it turns out like in week 5, I went all the way back to week 1 and did a refresher
Yeah,
and just make sure like if I can't explain it to like my kids, then I don't know it.
no,
I need to go
yeah,
back and take my time and comprehend it.
yeah. No, that's really good. And yeah, like it's a testament to what you've done as well. Like you was always on the calls on time. You was engaged. You was following up. Like I said, but you was like taking in the advice because
Mhm.
a lot of people join courses and programs and they don't
Yeah,
really like absorb it or taking the information. But like the ones that do, they see the success. And I can
absolutely.
like that's something you did, and you see the results for yourself, right? You've secured your first role, which is incredible. And how did the academy support you during your job search? I know you said I've done like the interview and stuff. Can you just give me more of a breakdown of how that process was?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you helped me from from page 1 to page 4 in my resume. I never had more than one page on a resume.
Yeah,
When you looked at it, I was like, okay, maybe it's okay in the tech space. So that was a good one right there. But as far as the community, also in our Discord, there's people from different backgrounds, different nationalities in the UK and the US, and I think some in Australia. But
yeah,
just the support, we're all helping each other grow and giving each other wisdom and encouragement. Because I don't know the most, with tech. There's people in the program that know more than me, so it's constantly supporting each other, learning from each other, learning from you. So that's the biggest thing is the Discord, the community, and then the modules. You're always throwing new content in there. So I'm
yeah,
gonna stay and learn. Like I'm only in week 9, and there's
yeah,
12 more weeks of modules. So
yeah,
and that's not even including the new stuff that's on the way.
yeah.
So I'm always gonna keep learning. Keep sharpening the saws. AWS likes to say.
Yeah. And that's the way to go. Like I'm still spending time every day learning new stuff because as soon as you start learning, as
Yeah,
soon as you stop learning, that's when you stop growing. So
exactly.
even the biggest mistake that you can do is to stop learning now that you got a job.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's like the worst thing that you can do. So definitely don't do that. Give yourself some breathing room, right? You just secured a new role. It's been intense. give
Yeah.
yourself a few weeks to just absorb the new role and like take your time. And then like after a few weeks, then think, okay, I've got the role. Like, where do I want to go now? Okay, cloud security. Okay, how do I do that? So then you just continuously just keep learning and learning and learning. And then like you just keep growing, right? So you don't want to stop learning. That's the biggest mistake people do is they get a job and they think, okay, that's it now. But actually, no, you need to keep progressing. Um,
Exactly.
cool.
That's
So
all.
could you share some details about the job that you just landed? How long did it take from you starting to apply to like getting the role? Obviously, we had the summer break, but and what's the role like? What's the responsibilities? I know you've just done week one. Like, how was that, and how does this compare to the previous role in banking?
Yeah. So let's see here. I started applying confidently, I guess you can say, in May, and I was just applying for everything, entry level, mid,
Hmm.
senior, semi, even senior levels. It was all cloud based. Any role that has to do with cloud, no matter if it's AWS, Azure, or GCP, I applied. And that was back in May. And then once we had and in the modules, I was in like week 6, so I just completed it. So out of the 12 weeks, you only need to complete like barely less than half till you're ready to be cloud hire. Um, but once I had the mock interview with you, and once we polished my resume, that's when I started getting reached out to recruiters,
Hmm.
uh, and just sign up for interviews after interviews. The biggest thing that helped me was I utilized my referrals, my network. So no matter if your spouse or your friend is in tech or not, or if they work in a tech position or not, like get them to refer you. Everybody has a tech position, tech department. So that was the biggest thing that really, really helped me. And then what was the other part of your question? I know it's pretty a loaded question.
Yeah, yeah. Like, how was your first week at the new role, and like, what kind of work are you going to be doing? Because you
Okay.
mentioned you're going to work with like AWS and migrations and
Yeah.
stuff. What does that look like?
Gotcha. Yeah. So my company is a tech company, and we work on the public sector. So we
Mhm.
work with local governments, small cities, big enterprises, and we help them transition their legacy data, over to our system. And so I'm going to be basically a data engineer, where I'm taking their data, and I'm going to transfer it over to our system and then manage it on the cloud. So I'll be working with technology like AWS, SQL, Python as well. And then, obviously whatever I learn on the side from you.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So you're going to be doing basically you're doing data migrations to the cloud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if you're a data engineer, you're a cloud engineer, even architects, they all work on this kind of task. And that's why
Mhm.
I always say, like, learn cloud engineering first
Yeah,
because you learn so much, right? And then you can focus on a certain area like data or security. Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, no, that's really, really cool.
Yeah. And that's a cool thing you brought up too, is because they hardly ask me any cloud questions.
Yeah.
But they were looking at my resume, and he might have just asked me like one cloud question. That was the explain to me what a Lambda function is.
Mhm.
And I only had to say it's serverless and it's event triggered. And by that, he was already like
You knew.
celebrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, right? I said this to you guys before in one of the academy weekly calls is that when I had an interview for a contract role, right? It was really, really high paid. And they said they had like 15 people they interviewed for, and only 2 out of 15 was able to answer what a security group is.
Yeah.
Or like how
Yeah.
does a networking work in in like VPC and the flow and stuff. So like it puts into perspective now that you said that even at the basic level, people can't answer what is a Lambda function and how does it work, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason you can answer it is because A, you've learned it and you've built with it hands on, right? So
Hmm.
you know immediately, okay, Lambda, serverless, event triggered, you
Yeah.
know, scales on its own. You ain't got to manage the infrastructure. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
really
and
cool.
and then my SQL skills too. He even told me too, like it's not at a level 10, it's more like in a 5. But he liked how I knew AWS, and he liked
Mhm.
my soft skills, and we were just bonding and had a great conversation. Like, even if you know just the minimum,
Yeah.
like that's enough to get you the job.
Yeah, exactly. Because most people, they will give you the room to grow and develop.
Mhm.
And technical skills you can learn, soft skills are hard to pick up.
Yeah.
So if one of the key things for me that's like driven my like success is like I've really doubled down, yes, on my technical skills, but I've really focused on being able to build relationships, be
Mhm.
able to communicate. And I can see that with you from the first day that you were great at talking, great sharing your ideas, your progress on the weekly calls. And things like that make a huge difference when you're interviewing.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, just two more. I don't want to take too much of your time, but is
No, no
there
worries.
any advice that you'd give to someone considering a career switch to cloud engineering through the Cloud Engineer Academy?
Yeah. So be patient, but be consistent. That's the one word, consistent, that I love and hate at the same time. But like, keep checking in, treat it like a business. If you can only do 30 minutes or whatever, like be consistent with your schedule and keep learning. Keep just stick to one technology, 1 week, one module. Like for me, a week of modules can take me maybe 2 to 3 weeks. If I'm making notes and then I'm typing my notes and then I'm writing my notes, but I'm also building it, getting my hands dirty with that. But being patient, being consistent, utilizing your networks, your current coworkers, previous coworkers. Keep applying. It's a numbers game. I was applying like close to 20 roles a day.
Yeah,
Uh, and some I didn't hear back, some I got declined. But if you keep showing that perfect job is gonna land, and that's what this job was. The one that I wanted it out of all the big names, it's the one I
yeah,
really like, really, really wanted. And so that's
yeah,
what still feels surreal there.
yeah,
I got cloud
yeah,
hire.
yeah. It's like such a
They,
good high, isn't it?
yeah, and they flew me out. As this part of your last question. They flew us out to Maine. I never been to Maine, never been anywhere north of New York, and we're out there for a week, and we're just getting to meet everybody from all over the U.S. and in the UK, and they fed us breakfast, lunch. It's
Yeah,
nice campus, but
yeah,
it was like the orientation. It felt like I was working at like some of these big FANG companies. To be honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah. You don't get that in banking, do
No, no, no. I mean,
you?
I got like a laptop with free swag, a backpack. So, they definitely took care of us. But yeah, comparing it to banking, my last one, because that was also part of your question. It's like day and night, man. Like
Mm,
this company, they actually care about you,
mm,
and your success, their investment in you. Versus banking, it's like almost like a revolving door, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to look back now. So
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
looking ahead. And talking about looking ahead, how do you see your career progressing now in the next few years, given your new skills?
Yeah. So continuing to add skills to my toolbox and then move up to a cloud engineer or I guess, yeah, cloud architect. And that's what I told him in the interview.
Mm,
Like I want to be with a company that I can see myself with long term.
yeah,
Then yeah, I'm shooting for that cloud architect role. But if it takes me to another role like a director, that's also great too.
yeah,
Obviously
yeah,
it'll be in tech space.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then as far as like off the career wise, on a personal level, is to work with you more. I know you're an entrepreneur. You got
mm,
other, stuff out there, and I want to grow, my businesses too,
yeah.
apart from my job. So that's something that I kind of look up to you in that regards as well.
Yeah, for
So
sure. It's all possible, right? It's first having like the vision for it, which
Mhm.
you have, right? You already have the aspiration. That's like half the battle. Because like I look around and honestly like 90% of people that I like see and like come across, like they don't actually know what they want or what they want their future to look like.
Mhm.
Whereas, like, if you already know where you want to go, that's like half the battle. And then the next part is actually a more easier part. Well, easy is like you putting the plan together and pursuing it
Yeah.
and making it happen. But
Yeah.
honestly, the hardest part is like having that vision because people can't
Okay.
even put together, like, I want to work for myself. Okay, what does that look like? How do I get there? They don't even have that like trail of thought to think like that. But you already have that, right? You were consistent to showed up basically every weekly call. I'm pretty sure. Like I've got the recordings for the
Yeah.
last 6 months of weekly calls. You were there on time, you was engaged, you had your camera on, like all these small things that you don't notice, I notice. And it
Okay.
makes a difference. And that you applied for all the roles, you took on the feedback, you followed up with the roles that you're applying for that you literally took everything that I said. And I always say the people that take in everything that I say, they will see success because
Hmm.
that's how I've always done it and I've always seen the results.
Yeah.
So so yeah, there you go. It's a testament to you and the hard work that you put in. And now, man, you're going to be flying.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Yeah, if I can do it, anybody can do it, to be honest with you. Like you provide the content, make it so easy. Like we just have to like learn how we like to learn and then, go and build, learn and then build through AWS console or, whatever technology. It's
Yeah.
just repetition really.
Mhm.
Get the concept and then repetition. And I knew that with this interview, it was SQL based. And I knew SQL was easy to understand because I had learned JavaScript through the boot camp. And
Yeah.
I knew the keywords were simple, the keywords. So I knew at this point it was just repetition, just keep knocking out sequels. And that was it. And then Python, I'm gonna do the same thing with Python,
Yeah.
just because I know the syntax is easier to read.
Yeah.
And then obviously continue to work on AWS.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Cool. That was really it. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Don't give up, man. There's no failing. Failure leads you closer to your goals also, but giving up, you don't progress. And just be consistent. Those are really the basic question. I know it's not cliche, but it's real simple. And then, like I said earlier, if you can't really explain it to your dog or to somebody else that's not in tech, what the technology or the concept is of, then you kind of rush through it. Go back, take your time. It's much long. Everybody learns differently. So just be patient.
Cool. Yeah, that's amazing.
Keep showing up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's
then
all it
obviously
is.
sign up for the Cloud Engineering
There
Academy.
we go. That's what I wanted. No, no,
It
no.
really is the best program out there, I'll be honest with you. Like there's other programs that have so many members in there, and it kind of gets diluted, but the way your program and the way you teach, it's perfect. Like it's top notch.
Thanks, man. Listen, I appreciate it. I've not paid you or anything like that. I've not
No,
told
no,
you what to say. This is
no.
straight. We just actually had our weekly call with the academy, right? And we've asked
Yeah,
you just to stay on so we can do this quick interview.
yeah.
But yeah, listen, well done again. Congrats. It's really inspiring, even for me, right, to see someone to come through, no tech background, completely different industry, jump
Mhm.
on the course, take everything in, be consistent, and then you see the results. Like it's actually
Yeah.
like inspiring, really inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can tell anybody another piece of advice, is my favorite quote by Zig Ziglar is you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Uh,
And all my interviews that hired me, even the director and the hiring manager, they all after talking to them, they all opened up and they all said, yeah, when I got into this business here at this company, I had no tech experience.
mm,
So that just like gave me like all the like motivation,
yeah,
confidence. I can do this.
yeah, for sure. And I know so many people personally that had no tech experience that are in tech right now. Like a lot of everyone started from zero, right? It's the
Mhm.
same if you're doing a YouTube channel. You start from
Yeah.
zero, but then you've got these guys who've got 1 million subscribers, right? They stuck with it, they kept going, and you see the results. It's the same when you're moving into a new tech role or learning anything new. Initially, it's hard. Like it was hard for you, I'm sure, the first few weeks. Like you're like, what is architecture? What is like these components? What are these serverless? All this
Yeah.
buzzwords you probably not heard of before.
Yeah.
But over time, it just became easier.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what you said in the mock interview. It's like I knew more than I thought I knew,
There you
and
go.
that was
Yeah, yeah,
kind of eye opener, confidence and motivation right there.
yeah. And that's the case for everyone. A lot of the students that we do mock interviews with, I notice with everyone, like they know a lot more than they think they do. I think it's
Yeah,
just like your natural instinct to not give yourself the credit that you should give yourself.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
But yeah, you should definitely be giving yourself a lot of credit because you've done amazingly, right? Like
yeah,
you've gone through like the most difficult time. Like this last 6 months been a really tough time for tech and getting into tech. But the fact that you've managed to do it, like great for you as well, right? But also it's going to inspire so many more people and it's going to
mhm.
show them that it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the other programs that I signed up for, that was back in November, and it wasn't really much from November to February when I signed your for your program. But when I signed up your program in February to when I got starting in interviews in June, I mean, I was just like a quick turnaround time, you know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I was, full-time student or, some compared to somebody who's has kids or working full-time, like as long as you set out a certain time, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour every day, like, you can see that quick turnaround time as well. You
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Cool.
but just keep showing up. The last thing I too is, of course, like I mentioned, I got laid off in December. So I went from January to August unemployed. So I'm a man of faith, I got my cross on. I was reading my Bible every day, just to
Yeah.
keep my head straight. 'Cause there was just so many moments where I wanted to just to give up, you know.
Mm.
But that's what gave me the comfort and the guidance that I was going in the right track. Like just trust the process. Like I
Yeah.
got this,
Yeah.
and it worked out perfect.
Yeah. It's
I
good
gotta
that it's
thanks.
I always say to myself when I do hard things, like it's meant to be hard, right?
Mhm.
And it's good that it's hard because you know if you don't give up,
Yeah,
you will get there. Because when you're learning something hard, there's going to be 100 other people that are learning the same thing but will give up.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So like say 1,000 people that start a new course or new career in the cloud, maybe only 100 actually stick with it in the next 3 to 6 months. So it shows you like, yes, there's competition, but there's not that much competition if you think about it.
yeah. Just got to keep showing up.
Yeah.
And then going back to my interview. So I had a first one was a technical interview. Oh, and actually no, it was with the recruiter. It was a non-technical. Second round was an assessment.
Mhm.
Uh, and then that assessment in the third interview with the hiring manager, who's just really cool. He's a real cool guy. I'm glad I'm gonna be working with him. He said that most of the guys and the girls don't even finish the assessment. They just like get up and leave.
There you go. There you go.
So
It's just about being there, right? Showing
yeah,
up,
finishing.
um,
Yeah,
finishing, right? And yeah, no, this video, like this call, it's going to inspire a lot of people. Right, what you've said is going to impact a lot of people. So yeah, like you're going to be an inspiration to a lot of people, man. It's really really
absolutely.
good. It's a good story to share with the world. So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad we got on here. Sorry I couldn't do this sooner because I've just been
no,
traveling, you know,
yeah,
just
no,
busy
so
and
good.
busy.
You're too busy now for us. You know, you got your new
Uh,
role.
I'm such a,
You're getting jetted out to different places. You know, what I mean,
I'm,
hotels.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Hopefully
High
they'll fly
life
me out
now.
to London one day and maybe we can, meet up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I knew we had to get on here because so many people were reaching out to me, for
Mhm.
questions. I just wanted to help everyone with, doing a video. And I'll continue to show up to the weekly calls because, I'm only in week 9. I still
Mhm.
got 4 or 5 more weeks left, and then whatever else new content you add.
Yeah,
So
for
I'm still
sure.
going to be a student.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Student of life.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man.
Um,
Listen.
one other
Yeah,
one
yeah.
other thing too. When I was interviewing for other roles with the other companies, they were all mentioning that they liked how I didn't really have any certificates. Because they interviewed a lot of candidates that had a lot of certificates, but they couldn't build anything. They had no
Mm.
like they didn't know the content, the material. They couldn't explain what a Lambda function is, but yet they got like a bunch of certificates. So that's another thing I want to point out to you is don't get caught up in you need all the certificates. No, those are just supplements. Like if I were to choose between studying for a certificate or studying to build, working on the cloud, I would focus on projects working on the cloud. That's what helped me the most.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
it's something I always say, like,
Uh,
build projects, guys. Like, you can
yeah,
do all the certifications you want. It's not going to teach you real practical skills.
yeah,
And it's something I always say to the students, like, a lot of students join and like, oh, should I do a certification first? I'm like, go through the program, learn the fundamentals, and when you do your AWS cert, it's going to be way easier because you've already built practical skills through the academy.
hmm
And it's
yeah,
just a
yeah,
way easier, way better journey. And even when I started, when I did my cloud practitioner foundational, I just did the certification, showed up for the exam, passed it. But honestly, what did I learn? Not much. So as for the second cert, the AWS Solution Architect Associate I did, and the AWS Professional, I passed those because I spent time building projects and real
mhm,
world experience, and it was way easier.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, that's what
but
I would
yeah,
recommend. Work on projects and then get the certificates later. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And half the time, if you get the job will sponsor you, will pay for those certificates.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Because at my previous place, they would give us bonuses for each certification that you like get.
very nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
that's another little hack. But yeah, build projects. Basically, that's the message. But
Absolutely.
yeah, listen, thanks very much for jumping on. Well done again. And yeah, I'm excited to see you progress now into the next level.
Absolutely. Whenever you want me to hop on again on the Cloud Engineering Academy podcast, I would love to do another
Yeah,
one
yeah. We need to get you
anytime.
on.
Yeah.
Cool,
I think
cool.
it's that next promotion, hopefully
Yeah,
and soon we'll
yeah.
do another one.
You can be a student coach or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. All right, man. Listen, thanks for your time. Well done again. And yeah, we'll catch you soon.
Absolutely.
All
Best of
right.
luck, guys, and I'll see you soon.
Take it easy.
Mhm.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.